Iron Man is one of those superheroes that, thanks to pop culture and the success of the MCU, has become a staple in the movie world, and with Doctor Strange 2 having popularised an interesting casting choice for the character, I'm taking a look at the story of how Tom Cruise nearly became Iron Man. So, to trace the story of Tom Cruise's Iron Man, we have to go back to the humble 1990s, during the days of Terminator 2, Pixar, and Bat Nipples. In the 1990s, Marvel was in a relatively tough spot and was close to bankruptcy. James Cameron was set to make an R-rated Spider-Man movie with Leonardo DiCaprio, and then things were cancelled because Marvel did actually go bankrupt, and in a bid to save themselves were forced to sell off the rights to some of their most beloved characters, which left the movie rights of beloved characters in the hands of other film studios. The rights to Spider-Man were sold to Sony, while the rights to the X-Men and the Fantastic Four were sold to 20th Century Fox. Which may, in hindsight, not have been the best idea. And over the years, other characters like the Hulk and Iron Man were sold to Universal. In 1996, however, 20th Century Fox bought the rights to develop an Iron Man movie for the big screen, and turned to one of the most beloved directors at that time, Quentin Tarantino. In the late-ish 90s, Fox approached Tarantino and offered him the opportunity to work on a movie adaptation for the character. Quentin was of course a big fan of the character, and things were quickly underway, but sadly things never materialised because Tarantino dropped off due to the fact he doesn't work with characters he didn't create, and it was around this time supposedly that Tom Cruise was in talks to play the character. Eventually the film never came to fruition, and the rights were sold just a few weeks later. In 2005, after regaining the rights to use the character on the big screen, Marvel eventually began plans to create a film adaptation for Iron Man, and started searching for a frontman to play the Armed Avenger. Now, by this time in the comics, things were getting pretty intense for the Avengers, but something tells me that a war was coming. A rather civil one, in fact. Anyway, during the pre-production of this movie in 2005, Cruise was apparently approached to play Tony Stark, but apparently he turned it down. Now, Tom recently said in an interview, and I quote, "Marvel Studios came to me at a certain time, and when I do something, I want to do it right. If I commit to something, it has to be done in a way that I know it's going to be something special. And as it was lining up, it didn't just feel to me like it was going to work. I need to be able to make decisions and make the film as great as it can be. It just didn't go down that road that way." Now, Cruise also went on to state that he believes that Robert Downey Jr. was the better choice for the character, saying that he couldn't imagine anyone else in the role. Also, had Cruise signed on to play Tony when he did, he would have had a notoriously busy schedule, given the many films that he starred in since the MCU's inception nearly 15 years ago now. However folks, that's not where this story ends, as rumours of Cruise playing Iron Man have popped up as early as 2019, when Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness was announced, as fans began speculating that Tom was going to make a cameo as a multiverse variant of the character. And the screenwriter for Doctor Strange 2, Michael Waldron, recently addressed the rumours of Cruise appearing in the movie, saying, and I quote, "Yeah, that was totally made up. I mean, there's no cut footage of Tom Cruise," he said, speaking on these online rumours. He then goes on to say, and I quote, "But I love Tom Cruise, and I said to Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige at one point, I was like, could we get Tom Cruise's Iron Man? I remember reading about that in Ain't It Cool News back in the day, that Tom Cruise was going to be Iron Man." However, Cruise appearing in the movie simply wouldn't have been possible, given that while Doctor Strange 2 was undergoing filming here and there, the 7th Mission Impossible film, now titled Dead Reckoning Part 1, was in production, and it's more than likely that the COVID-19 pandemic also hindered these plans further. But in conclusion, however, Tom Cruise may one day get the chance to play the Armed Avenger. As rumours of a Secret Wars movie arise, Cruise may finally get his chance to suit up.